this weekend. Heavyweights on the cusp of the top 15. A couple guys that competed on Dana White's Contender Series not that long ago. We have the former Octagon heavyweight champ, Martin Badys Buday, representing Slovakia. Back-to-back weeks for Slovakia. You had Ludwig Klein getting that big win last weekend against Ignacio Bahamondes. And moving it forward, Buday is going to be taking on Michigan's own Scorpion Fighting Systems. We're talking about Josh Parisian. And when it goes well for Josh Parisian, the wrestling works itself out. You remember his performance bonus when he took on Alain Baudot. He got lit up in the first round, and then in the second round, he rallied back. He utilized that wrestling, and he had a big-time advantage there. And both of these guys, some of the bigger guys you're going to find at heavyweight. Buday's a little bit like Derek Lewis. We're cutting down to make the 266 or the 265. Josh Parisian, a bigger guy as well. But if you look at it, I mean, Buday was an Octagon champ before Octagon was cool. Way back when One Championship was getting their shine with the World MMA Awards, and listen, getting at least a nomination for Promotion of the Year. But this year, Octagon taking that top-ish slot. Might not win it against the KSWs and the UFCs and the PFLs of the world, but awesome to see that for Octagon. And when Buday was getting it done there, he had a little bit of a finish against Kamil Minda. He was losing the first round handily, getting outboxed. And then in the second round, it was like when Alexander Emelianenko took on Eddie Bankston. That kind of phantom jab. Minda falls down. That's the end of the fight. So Buday moves it forward. He gets on to Contender Series 2021, and he's taking on Lorenzo Hood. And in that one, it was a slobber knocker. It was sloppy. They were just going at it, throwing absolute hammers. But Buday pressures it forward. He ends up landing a big-time shot up against the fence. He ends up getting the finish. So Buday gets the win there. And so far in the UFC, he's undefeated. And he's looked really, really good if you only look at his record on paper. Think about the fights that he's had. Chris Barnett, in that one, they're going back and forth. We're having a rip-roaring good time. Buday's pressuring the action. It seems like Chris Barnett is pretty injured in that one, and his corner sends him out for the third round. So Buday lands a knee up against the fence. Barnett drops, and then there's a lot of illegal shots at the back of the head. And referee Dan Miragliotta doesn't take a point. So we go to a technical decision, and all three judges score at 30-27 for Buday. He then goes into a fight against Łukasz Drewski. In that one, 11 had it 29-28 for Drewski on MMA decisions. There was some 30-27s, and one scored the fight for Buday. Ultimately, Buday gets a split decision win. He got completely outstruck in that fight, and he wasn't successful with the takedowns. He wasn't successful with a lot of his clinch work, and that's a weird one because we've seen Drewski even struggle big time against Carl Williams, who's a good wrestler in his own right. So Buday carries it forward. His last time out against Jake Collier, gets outstruck in the first round, and then that brawn that he has wins him the second and the third. So when you look at this fight, both guys are actually net negative strikers in their UFC careers. And for Buday, it's a lot of box to pressure forward, some really heavy leg kicks when he does decide to land them. And if he has a lot of success, it's not really the greatest fight to watch when you're watching a Martin Buday fight. When you look at a guy like Josh Parisian, again, when he's having success, he's winning with his grappling. When he's losing fights, he's struggling in the grappling. You go back to Parisian's last fight against Jamal Pogues, gives up 5 takedowns in that one. You look at the wins that he has. I already mentioned the Baudot fight. You look at the loss. He's taking on Don'Tale Mayes, and he's getting a cup to the mouth. It was a little inappropriate, but you did have that big-time, slam a jam, a humpa-rumpa there from Lord Kong, Don'Tale Mayes. So when you consider a fight like this, I mean, it could go either way, but to me, I just feel like Martin Buday's got a little bit more in terms of those finished product skills that could get him a win. I mean, Josh Parisian's a guy, fought in Contender Series a couple of times, had that spinning shot against Greg Rebello that got him a win, but that wasn't good enough. They wanted him on the Ultimate Fighter. He is ultimately an interesting fighter, but again, for me, I'm going to go with Buday in this one, and I know Matt's in agreement on this one. So both of us going with Slovakia's Martin Buday, and now I think it's about time to carry these kayaks into the water.